overreach sunders our universe.
Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing a game that descended into the realm of early access on November 14th, causing ripples of excitement across the gaming community. Death Must Die. The studio developing the game is Realm Archive, which is just a small indie team of 4 developers, and they are doing a bang-up job in my opinion. If you ever wondered what it would be like if Vampire Survivors, Diablo, and Hades had a wild night together, resulting in an epic love child, look no further because these guys have done it. The game is currently available on Steam for $6.99 USD. We'll go over the game in a pros and cons format, and at the end of the video I'll give you my verdict. Buy, wait for a sale, or leave it on the shelf. If you find this video helpful or informative, please be sure to hit the like button, as it does help out the channel quite a lot. Also, we'd love it if you would join the community and subscribe as well. There's a link to the game in the description, as well as a link to our Discord server if you want to join us over there. Alright, we have a lot to go over with this one, so without any further ado, let's jump into it. We'll kick things off with the pros, and the first one is definitely going to be the gameplay. Death Must Die is a roguelite RPG bullet heaven, throwing you into the fray as heroes, battling death itself. The runs are 20 minutes long, which makes it really easy to have that one more run mentality. On top of that, the game is actually quite challenging. I found myself pleasantly surprised at the difficulty level when you first start out. Most bullet heaven games aren't really too difficult, but between learning enemy attack patterns and using your dodge appropriately, it can be pretty difficult at times. There are currently 5 playable classes: Knight, Warrior, Barbarian, Assassin, and Sorceress. The combat has a good amount of weight to it, and the different abilities have great animations as well. As you get further into the runs, it becomes really satisfying to mow down hordes of enemies, and I think that this is something that a game like this has to get right. The dash is a great addition to the game, giving you more agency and allowing you to use your knowledge of the game to your advantage in a meaningful way. As you level up, divine boons rain down from the gods, who are basically your celestial cheerleaders in the quest to obliterate death. Hades fans will feel right at home here, and there's a fresh pantheon of gods, each offering diverse boons. The gods will appear the same way that they do in Hades, giving you a bit of dialogue before they offer you their boon. For instance, Mort, the daughter of death.
The Reaper does not listen to the harvest, so maybe it's high time he started.
Can grant you the ability to raise skeletons from the dead or siphon life from your enemies when you use your dash. I do think that there should be a few more gods added to the pantheon to fully flesh out this idea. However, considering it's in early access, there's still lots of opportunity for them to expand on it. In most of these types of games, you will have some form of meta progression, making it easier to complete runs or to be able to move on to harder stages. This game does it a bit differently by allowing you to find gear that will provide you with different stats, and in some cases grant you the ability to reroll, banish, or alter boons. Death Must Die uses a rarity system for the items as well, which will determine the overall strength of the item. There are different types of gear. These different types of gear go with the different classes and will have stats depending on that class's strengths. I do have a few critiques on this system, and we'll be going over those in a bit, but overall I do think that it's an interesting idea and just needs a bit of work to make it more satisfying. Now, aside from the gameplay, the other major positive that Death Must Die has going for it is definitely going to be the art direction. The environment has a great look and feel to it. There is currently only one stage available. However, given the consistency of the artwork, I'd say we can likely expect future areas to be just as great. The character portraits are awesome. For instance, I really like Time's portrait a lot, and I think overall, they mostly look fantastic. I'll quickly mention that I do think the soundtrack, sound effects, especially the big knight sounding like a can of soda when you kill them, and the voice acting leave a little bit to be desired, and I think this could be a pain point for quite a few people, but hopefully it is something that they continue to work on. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that I think Death Must Die could do better. The first of which is going to be the gearing system. As I mentioned earlier, there are some flaws in this system, but I think it is something the developers can definitely fix. The most glaring issue with the gearing system is how inconsistent it is. You can find items for every class during a run, and the item's rarity can vary depending on the amount of luck you have and where the item comes from. This makes for a poor experience in most situations, as you can't really use the gear that you find to actively help you complete the run. A weighted luck system could really help here. Imagine the satisfaction of finding gear that's actually useful for your chosen hero. I think in a lot of ways this will make finding gear more satisfying. As it stands, when I find gear, I don't even bother opening my inventory anymore, because the likelihood that I can actually use it on the character that I'm playing is quite low. I also believe that adding some satisfying sounds when a rare piece of gear drops, and a minimap indicator for gear that has a dot that corresponds with the rarity of the items would really help. To avoid it cluttering your minimap, they could also add a loot filter that only allows items of a certain rarity to appear in the options menu as you continue to progress, and no longer need loot of a lower rarity. The next thing that I definitely think needs some work, and will likely happen given more time, is more stages, classes, and enemy types. I definitely think that launching into early access with only one playable stage and 5 classes with only one ranged class isn't quite enough. We as players need to feel like we are making progress, and the only progress that we are currently seeing is the ability to move forward in the single stage, and the meta progression of gear and the signs that you unlock from completing achievements. I think that this should be the thing that the developers sink most of their time into. More stages to complete that unlock new gods and classes as you continue to progress through those stages would make for an immensely satisfying gameplay loop. Now, the final thing that I think needs some work is going to be the character dialogue. Death Must Die doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's okay, but I think that given the atmosphere, the emojis and the characters' dialogue is a little off-putting. I understand the desire to give the characters some expression and personality, but I think it is laid on a little thick here. A better alternative would be to give the playable characters portraits that are in line with the god portraits with different expressions depending on what they are saying. There's no need for it to be voice acted, but that alone would make a big difference. Overall, I think that Death Must Die is a welcome addition to the survivor-like genre, with some qualities that set it apart from the ever-growing sea of games in this category. It's a little rough around the edges, but I think there's a foundation here that is definitely going to set the developers up for success. So you must be wondering after all that, should you buy, wait for a sale, or leave it on the shelf? I'd say if you're a fan of the survivor-like genre or roguelikes and are willing to follow the development of the game, then you should definitely buy it. If you're looking for a fully polished experience, I'd wait for further development or for it to go on sale. Thank you so much for watching the video, and hopefully you found it helpful or entertaining. If you did, be sure to hit the like button. It's the magic that fuels both the channel and the game's exposure. Let me know down in the comments if you plan on picking up the game, or if you already have, what's your favorite part so far? Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to see more reviews and gaming news. That's it for this one. Go out there and kill some chatty skeletons. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.